revealed throughout the course of this show.
Oh man, that's a tease.
And at some point in the not too distant future, when it all happens, we will refer back to this moment, and people will say, maybe it wasn't so hot to take after all.
Well, I'll tease something else.
Okay.
We will be announcing finally who won the championship jersey giveaway. And I could not be more excited, especially because there's another jersey topic we have to broach.
There it is.
You may have noticed that there are hideous colors on my body. Offensive, bright, big bird colors.
I didn't know that black could be an offensive color.
Well,
but here we are.
Yellow, though.
When paired with that yellow.
Yes, this is the limited. Oh, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing when I'm watching my camera. This is the Clutch Gaming X Dignitas Special Edition Limited Jersey that no one cares about. But alas, we lost a bet. Jordan, do you want to talk about that bet so everyone knows why I'm wearing this hideous beast?
To remind everyone, there was a I would call it the final Red Rivalry crossover show. 100 Talk X League Leaders, and on that show, Cole entered into a wager that proved to be more damaging than the actual loss itself.
That's actually really true. The loss didn't mean anything, really.
Look no further than his current attire. If you're listening to this pod, do yourself a favor. Pull up the YouTube. You don't have to watch the whole thing. It's going to be a long show. We're probably going to go for 3 or 4 hours. But just look at this. I just want to point out, here's my review. I've had some time to study it.
Okay.
Here's my review.
Here we are. Here's the jersey, so you can see it.
There appears to be some kind of manufacturing error where they didn't quite align the black. If you can see this, the black cutover with the neckline. So what I suspect should be hidden beneath the collar is in fact just an offset black line. It's fine.
That's our manufacturing review of this jersey. Well, look. It is offensive in many ways. That's just one of many ways it is. So, George and Zach, the League Leaders podcast, consider the debt paid. And what's more is that we will trust me, nothing would please me more than to take this jersey off and set it on fire. But as a token of our goodwill, we will give this thing away to your fans. All right, to your listeners after this. So get in touch with us. We'll give this thing away because I do not want it in the least. Here's the one redeeming thing. It's got Billy on it, and I'm turning into a massive BLG fan from the LPL. So that's been fun to watch.
I caught only one of those things you just said. I know what the LPL is. The rest of it is...
Yes, Billy Gaming in LPL is
all right.
Is kind of like a meteoric rise team. They've been really fun to watch. So they're like one of my other league teams to watch.
We should start 100 Thieves should start co-sponsoring other teams out there. I don't know.
No, absolutely not. By the way, Dylan giving a gifted sub over to League Leaders. And as another token of goodwill, Dylan has now given away 64 subs in the channel. That is ridiculous.
So I think with that, League Leaders is now officially subscribed to our channel.
Yes, and you must spam the Hey Dads emote all the time.
And so I think that chapter is closed. Officially, the Red Rivalry has concluded.
Yes, especially because you guys are yellow now.
I don't know. Maybe there's like a ketchup and mustard rivalry next split. We'll see.
Ketchup and mustard rivalry, dude. Oh my gosh. Well, we already got it. Ketchup and mustard.
It's looking good.
Oh man.
But with that out of the way, shall we, Cole, get to the real business of our show tonight?
Let's do what we came here to do.
All right. The first thing is first. We've got to talk about some things. We got to put some things on the table here. We have to set some assumptions that we're all going to work with.
Condiment wars in the chat. Sorry.
I just saw that Guac got gifted a sub.
Oh, yeah, because Graf is giving 5 subs away in chat. Jeez. Graf, another member of the Treasury is very active tonight.
Treasury's hitting.
Thank you, Treasury. Okay, sorry. Back to our normal thing.
As any good fantasy GM needs a good, strong Treasury behind them, and we're gonna spend some money tonight, some of that sub money on some new players. So to get into it,
this is the GoFundMe for the 100 Thieves roster. You subscribe to this channel. It's all going back to the roster.
Cole said we were gonna give away this Dig jersey. There's no way that thing's going to auction. We got some salaries to pay off.
Well, you're not going to be able to list a piece of crap like this on StockX. I'll just say that.
You're underestimating your stands, Cole. I'm just saying.
All right. Sorry, no more distractions. Here we go. We're going to the real show.
We're into it. Okay, this meeting is officially underway of Fix 100 Thieves 2020 edition. Okay, so a couple things to talk about. One, and first and foremost, there are going to be like diamonds in the rough. There's going to be the next person to come out of an emerging region who is insane mechanics, godlike skills, cannot be beat. We've never seen them play. We're not going to talk about that person. And we're not going to guess who that person is because that would not be very productive. So if you know at home who that person is and you think that we should just pick them up, feel free to send us a DM. Fantasy GMs, we'll consider it.
Tweet it at us.
Tweet at us. Let us know. If they've got a highlight reel on YouTube, disqualified. Too well known. I want to have to spectate their games. That's the level of notoriety I'm looking for. So that's one thing. Multi-team trades, super complex. A million different things have to fall into place.
And rare.
Probably not going to make it onto. Definitely not going to make it into our assessment tonight. Might make it into a hot take here or there, but realistically, not something that we can really factor in as we look at what might happen or what we think should happen. So keep that in mind. And then budget's not unlimited. So what we do know is 100 Thieves is willing to pay for talent. We pay for talent right now. We will continue to pay for talent in 2020. That's not going to change. We're not selling our franchise spot, so we're going to keep playing to win. I think everybody understands that.
Yeah.
What we can't do is buy the best of every player and throw so much money at people that they have no choice but to come to us. So, worth keeping in mind. I'm gonna, it's not fun if you don't make some leaps and some stretches. So we'll do that. But just keep in mind, like you're probably not going to get Faker. And you're probably not going to get, I don't know, Faker and Bjergsen, have him on your academy squad. I don't know. But those guys are going to want a lot of money.
Both of them.
You're going to have to make some, yeah. If you have both of them, your team's pretty good, I suppose. You can probably run a 6-man roster with that. Anything else, Cole?
No, just that as we go through this, we're going to start at the top of the map and then work our way down. And we're going to talk about each player on the starting roster, and then there will probably be some academy hits along the way, and then we'll just kind of take it by position, and along the way that'll force us to talk about some general things about the team, just play style stuff or statistic wise, things like that, where we're trying to fit these puzzle pieces together. And then the last thing I would say is, at the end of the day, we're idiots, so we're gonna be wrong. All right. So we'll just have fun with it.
There's a reason that this is called the Fantasy GM segment.
Yeah, that's right. Because in our wildest fantasies is the only way it could be happening.
Look, we spammed our resumes around. We said it's a package deal. You take one, you take both. No responses back. I don't know. So we're gonna settle to do this show, and I think that will be pretty good for 2019. Maybe 2020 is when we get that breakthrough.
Yep. All right.
Keep working to it.
That being said, let us begin this wild journey, this wild ride, and we're gonna start with one of the more intriguing players on our roster, which is Fake God. So we're gonna talk about the top lane situation, which will force us to talk about Fake God and Someday.
Yes.
Someday being a known quantity. That man good. Okay, that's what I have to say about that. But so
3-word review.
The question to Jordan is: Fake God, keep, swap, or deal?
Keep, swap, or deal. KSD. Do I have to give like a one-word answer? And let me also say, before we get into lane by lane, Cole and I have not discussed what we think should happen in each of these positions. So
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We don't. There is no script for this episode. We almost always script out an entire episode. This one, not the case. Okay. Keep, swap, deal. So let me just start by saying we have two options. Both, I would say, are workable. I think we've established that. Someday, as we have also established, is good. We've got both of them on contract through 2020, so we can play both of them. We can keep both of them. Nothing has to happen. We could start either of these guys going into next split, and that's automatic. So when it comes to Fake God, here's my thought. I think that Fake God is a player, as we've discussed, with immense upside. And what I think is less likely to happen is that he continues to mature and realize that upside if he is sitting on an academy squad. So for that reason, I don't like having Fake God play another split for us, or a season for us, you could say the full next season on our academy squad. I just don't think that's going to be that beneficial for us.
Wait, to clarify what you're saying you don't think Fake God develops if he's playing academy.
That's right.
Okay, cool. I misunderstood you at first. All right, so glad to clear that up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. This may be like a little bit of recency bias, but as I mentioned when we did our top 15 plays from 2019 video, if you've not watched that, check it out. There's actually some amazing stuff in there that I'd kind of forgotten about, because sometimes it felt like we weren't making good plays.
Yeah,
we were. Some days so good. And here's what I'll say. While we have him on contract, I think we have to get him back into our starting lineup. I think we need to find a way. And so what I'm going to say for Fake God is I think we should deal Fake God. That's hot take one. That's hot take one. And I think that we should do that so that we can get Someday back in. All this other stuff has to happen. But I think Fake God is good enough to play in the LCS, at the LCS level. So the only reason we wouldn't do that is if we want to tie him up in the academy. But like I said, I don't think that's best for him. I don't think he is going to get to a point where he is better than Someday, unless you're playing the long game and you want him to start in 2021. But to me, it just feels like he's not really going to make the level of strides and improvements you need to see from a player for us to say at the end of Someday's contract, we're going to flip him back in. I think if you're going to do that, you just stick with your guns, keep him where he's at, and continue to play him in 2020.
Well, I'm glad we're starting off with a big disagreement.
Me too. Oh, that's my favorite.
That makes me happy, because I honestly thought we were going to agree on this. We do not. We do not. Now, as much as it pains me to say, I want to keep Fake God as our starter. Okay. And I'm going to elaborate on that in just a minute, but I want to point out that with your suggestion of keeping Someday, that means we've got one of our import player slots spoken for on your end. Okay.
Yes.
So he's burning up an import slot.
Track at home. I'm down one.
And everybody, please, I love you so much, but for the last time, Someday is not getting a green card anytime soon.
No.
Okay. If that happens, it will be shocking. So.
And amazing.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yes. So do not count on that. Someday is not going to have residency in 2020. And if I'm wrong about that, come back and throw virtual stones at me on Twitter. But right now, it's just not feasible. So here's the deal with Fake God. This is what I see in this guy. First of all, very new. All right. We talked about this over and over again. This was his first split as an LCS player. But if you go back a calendar year, this guy had zero competitive playing experience. All right. He is the context in which we played him was a pressure sponge, right? Someone who was going to obviously be targeted by the other team because he's a perceived weakness. And we kind of left him on an island. He got a little bit of support, but largely did not. So he was just up there to not lose too bad. And as time went on, he did a better and better job of that, and even showed flashes of carry potential, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at him on the statistic side, He didn't, because of the nature of how we're playing him, it kind of skewed things a little bit. Like, he didn't, among top laners, he had the second fewest kills. He had the third worst KDA. He averages being 49 gold down at 10 minutes. He's got the worst CS difference at 10 minutes, and it's not even close. Like, he's almost twice as bad as the next person up. Mm-hmm. But the laning is like the only stuff that he's weak at. Everything else, like his fighting is good. He's got great vision stats. And I don't know. I think that the way we played him, it doesn't allow him to statistically shine. And all he really needs to do to improve and be like a very legit top laner is just to lane more consistently, especially early. That, among all the problems that you can have as a League of Legends professional player, that is like the easiest one to solve. Like, okay, dude, just lane better. All right, we can work on that. We can work on the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So, weighing that against the import slot thing, I just think that we have to make the choice, and I'm going to choose to hold on to that import slot for mid lane. So, yes, I think start Fake God. I think someday is an attractive prospect to other people, probably not at his price point. So if we get rid of him, which I think we should, I don't think we should sit with him on Academy and pay that salary. We're going to have to incentivize that trade with somebody, but there will be a way to make it happen where it's a net positive for us. And I think we have to say goodbye to the kind boy. And that makes me so sad because I love this dude. But I just think the best overall position for the long-term health of the team is to get the young Fake God in there.
So let's take a moment here and just say every decision and every evaluation of talent comes, you cannot do it in isolation, right? And I agree with what you said about Fake God. I think he will continue to get better. And I think that his, like, look at where he started and look at where he ended.
Yeah.
Right. I think even, and that's not to say that he was dominating the lane phase, but I do think that he has a future career in the LCS. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think that there will be plenty of teams who are interested in him. I think if they're smart, they would find a way to get him into the starting spot. Like I said, I don't think Academy is where you're going to see this kid continue to increase and improve at the level that I think he can. But you are saying basically that import slot is too valuable to me, and we have a need at mid that I am going to address with an import. So right away, what you're doing is saying, I believe that we can actually import somebody who will improve our overall team composition as a replacement over Ryu.
Yes.
And so I just want to make sure that we're kind of establishing those things. I am less confident in that. And so that's part of what I weigh in when I say we have a differential talent in top lane that with some of the different things that we've got going on, I could see playing out differently than we had at the start of 2019.
Well, look, I see your Ryu point, and I will be happy to persuade you when we get to mid lane.
I cannot wait.
All
because
right.
and I think this is another good place to remind people at home. This is quite the puzzle.
Yes, it is.
Putting together this roster for 2020 is going to be one of those Herculean efforts that I would love to watch the documentary about 10 years from now. And I can't wait for
building the roster
to come around to it. Yeah, I think that'll be a really good series when he gets to it.
Okay, so just to sum up, you say we're dealing Fake God, right? Or because you don't want him to sit in Academy. So you say keep someday, start him. I think
he's too valuable.
Deal Fake God because he has some perceived value for another team.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. And I'm saying keep Fake God, deal someday. All right.
Deal someday. All right. We've gone opposites so far. Let's see if we can make it 2 for 2.
Yep.
Cole, the next position down the rift is jungle. And to remind everyone at home, we have our good friend Amazing as a starting jungler. He is on contract through 2020. Behind him in the Academy squad is Anda, who is contracted only through the end of this year. So is a free agent, meaning that if he chooses not to sign with us, he's not playing for us. So do you want to start this round off this lightning fantasy GM round off, and let me know what you think we should do in the jungle.
First of all, I have amazing, according to my stuff, I have amazing through 2020. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
If I said that.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yep.
So you're asking me keep, swap, deal with amazing.
Keep, swap, deal with the same thing. Let's run it back for, amazing.
Well, I am going to keep amazing, but coach amazing.
What?
We're moving amazing to a coach.
What?
We are moving this
swap,
man to a coach. Is that a swap? Like a role swap, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's a swap.
All right. Sure. All right, we'll go with that. But that's my answer. Okay. Here's my take on amazing.
Sorry. One quick note. We also do have Fragus. Let's not forget Fragus.
Yes, we do have Fragus. We have the cutest person in NA. Yes, as our third jungler. Look, here's the deal. Obvious, and I mean, if you watch the heist, you can see it. It just comes right through the screen that this dude is a leader. He is going to express what he thinks. He is not shy. He's not afraid to criticize, but he does it in a constructive way, and he believes in the team, and he's positive. It basically looked like he was coaching the team, according to the heist. Like, just the perspective I got from it. I know that's skewed. I know that tells a story in a very specific way, but it looks like this man was already the coach. Now,
he even said it jokingly himself.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I think that he did some very valuable things for us. I think he did a lot to like change the mentality of the team, which you can do from a coaching position. But when it comes down to actually playing on the Rift, he felt like a Band-Aid to me. It felt like a Band-Aid.
Okay.
He's got a great Sejuani. And he's got a pretty dang good Gragas. And that was about it. He's an all right Jarvan also. Mm-hmm. What I see him do on the Rift is he's definitely the one hitting the go button on the engages. He's setting up the fights. But
in the bot lane.
And he did the whole gank bot lane thing, which we were, praying for in spring.
Strategy.
Yeah. Yep. But finally did it in summer. I just think that when players get a little bit older, and he is a little bit older when we're talking about players, the mechanics suffer a little bit, and macro is very, very important and valuable. Macro, like what's your strategic stuff that you're setting up, that's very important. But he gets really far behind when you're talking about like comparing jungler to jungler. If you run through the stats, which jungle is always like a little weird, but he's got the second worst gold differential at 10 minutes, second worst CS difference at 10 minutes. He does have like a really high KP. It's about the highest KP because he is, like I said, he's going around, he's setting up those fights. But he also has the worst wards placed per minute of all junglers in the league. He's got like really like middle amount of kills. He dies a lot though, which brings down his KDA. So to me, it's like, he's not like, when we don't have him on Sejuani, basically, like it's a net negative for the team. Like he just can't, and we'll see this as we go through each position, like early game gold and CS is so bad for us. It's so bad. And so when I'm thinking about what do I need to do to fix 100T, I'm thinking about addressing those problems. Now, if we got someone like him who can step back and be an assistant coach or whatever, like I'm cool with that because he's got a lot of things to say as far as how the team plays. And I think barring, a couple exceptions, we will miss his on the Rift shot calling a bit because I do think he does a good job of that. But we're just suffering too much in some pretty valuable categories. And because the champion pool is so shallow, I think we got to just move him out of there. And I think we need to find a new jungler solution. I defer to you, sir.
Okay. Are you prepared to propose a new jungler?
Yeah, we can talk about that after I get your take.
Okay. Here's my reaction. My major concern is let's step in that time machine and go back. It's November 2018. 100 Thieves have signed. Bang. And you look at this guy on paper, he is an absolute monster. Stats, record, career, all enough to just completely blow NA out of the water. It was still called NA at that point. NA out of the water. And it didn't happen. So I'm going into some of these positions with an acute awareness of the fact that there are certain intangibles that I believe come into play on the Rift that aren't captured in things you can track easily. And I think one of those things is leadership. I don't think that Bang, at least in NA, is an in-game leader. I think there's a lot of different reasons that might be the case. And I don't know that, I don't think that you expect every player to be.
Sure. I agree with this, by the way. I'll just put that out there.
I don't know that Doublelift is an in-game leader, but I don't think anybody would argue with you that he is the best player. Well, there's a lot of argument about this, although Les, as he continues to rack up the titles, let's just say one of the best players to play in North America ever. It's one of those things that you either have or you don't. It's either part of your game or it's not. And I think that in 2019, I think one of the primary things we did is we over-indexed on individual ability, mechanical ability in some cases, and we undervalued leadership. So for me, I think that if we are going to, here's what happened. It's the time machine a little bit less far back. Week 3, summer split. We made the switch. We brought in week 2, halfway through week 3. We brought in Ryu, and we kept Amazing in. So we don't know which of those guys brought the leadership that was needed to actually turn this roster into one that can produce a winning record. And they did. The latest iteration had a winning record. Let's not forget.
53%. Yes.
53%. Which is, we made it.
It's a winning record.
Statistically, we made it. So I think that if you're going to, and I think you might, if you're going to move both mid and jungle, you are in what I would call leadership deficit danger territory. LDDT.
LDDT. I like it.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm keeping Amazing in. Because I think that you could have Amazing. I guess stop. You could have a really good player to replace all across. You could get great players all across. If none of them have proven leadership, you may find yourself in that same moment, spring 2019, where you look at the lineup and say, why are we less than the sum of our parts? Leadership.
Okay. A couple reactions to that. First of all,
please.
So I agree that we undervalued leadership. Bold of you to assume that I'm not bringing in leaders.
Oh, I look. if your next move is to bring in a leader, then I'm all for it.
Well, here's the other thing. Do you remember who our mid laner was in that scenario?
Saligo.
Our good friend Max, who is a very nice boy with wonderful smile and bad laning. And I think like what we saw play out was just, it's hard to diagnose what it specifically was. And I will agree forever that a component of it was leadership and composure and experience.
Yeah.
So cool.
But even experience, I would say, doesn't always equate.
None of these things on their own always equate. It's always a total picture thing. And it would be a mistake to overvalue leadership at the cost of, hey, guess what? We're starting off every game in the hole. Like, we automatically are down 1,500 gold at 10 minutes every game, and we have to win. Like, that is not a formula for winning. So I'm saying we got to do something here. Now, so does that mean you're suggesting we keep Amazing?
I say keep him. He starts.
Okay, let me also put this to you. Yes, he is a resident, which is great. He's also going to be 1 year older that time. Yes. That man ain't aging in reverse. And the only person who is undefeated in sports is Father Time.
And Tom Brady.
They are one and the same. Okay, well, I guess since I'm the one replacing him, It's the onus is on me to talk about
mine.
that. So I'm going to run through just a few options. I'm trying to think of what order I'm going to do this in. Okay, I'm gonna go basically like top to bottom on like ideal to the rest. And these are options that I consider in the range from like doable to might take some doing, but I think we could pull it off if dominoes fall right. Okay.
Yeah. And I think this is probably something we should do every time we talk about something that's going to involve bringing somebody in from outside.
Yeah, right. So my candidate to replace Amazing on 100 Thieves is the somehow forgotten Blabber. Yeah, I see that face you're making. You forgot that man existed.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Look, here's the deal with Blabber. I don't see his name being thrown out very often. It used to be. Here's the problem with him. Okay, he's on contract with C9 for another 2 years. C9 is historically like reluctant to deal players. And it kind of seems like that's actually a part of their business is to develop those players and sell them, right? Mm-hmm. But if you go back to look at his stats when he was playing in the LCS a lot, dude was good. And he was good in the places where we need it most, which is, like I've been saying, early game stuff. His goal differential was great. Yeah, his CS differential was great. That man was killing everyone. I think there's been a general criticism lobbed at him that he like dies a little bit too much and like he'll just automatically engage. But he's honestly, Amazing is that way too. Like go back and watch. Amazing engages and dies a lot because he's setting things up. Like you have to have someone who engage and die. But Blabber gets way more kills while he's doing it. All right. Just putting that out there. I think Blabber is a doable option. Go ahead.
Blabber did famously overcommit in our game against C9 in a way that kind of turned the game around. All I'm saying, that's one data point in a career. That's not what defines people. But that is his style. Yeah. He is always going to fight. He is pure aggression.
I say bring it on,
and
dude.
Actually, and I don't and what I'm going to say is I don't necessarily think that that's a bad fit with the team we want to be. You have Afromo, who is, I would say, as a support player, very similar. Mm-hmm. He is always looking for the engage.
Sure.
His numbers this year, he didn't play as many games. Also crazy, like way up there. His leads were insane.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, Cole.
I'm just saying, like, everybody is going to make a bad play at some point. Everybody is going to do that. But I think that dude could work with us. Here are some other options. Let me put these things out. These are the less priority options for me. Okay. In the realm of probably not, but maybe there's a way. And even if we pull it off, I don't think it potentially works as well as Blabber, but I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. I mean, Xmithy.
Oh.
Xmithy is out there, right?
He's out there.
He's out there.
His contract is up.
His contract's up. He does a great job securing objectives, tracking junglers, setting up kills for later. If there's like maybe the unheralded thing about Xmithy is that he gets the kills over to the laners. Like when the ganks happen, when the setups happen, the engages happen, he doesn't end up having to get the kill. Like if you look at the stats, they really bear that out. Like he gets the kills where they need to go, which is great. I don't think he's a world-changing improvement for us. I don't think the dream signing of Xmithy and like all our problems are solved. I don't think he falls into that category. I think he's an improvement and he would be good. But I don't think he's like as impactful as maybe some of the other guys out there. So, that's an option. Okay, he's a free agent. That's an option.
From a leadership perspective, he is very experienced. I don't know what kind of player he is. He strikes me as a more quiet player.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably because he's a more quiet dude. He could be completely different on the Rift. Yeah. I don't know. He does not represent himself like Amazing does when you hear Amazing talk.
Right.
Right.
I think the stronger counterpoint would be, why would you want to leave Team Liquid? Mm-hmm. And Team Liquid could match and exceed any offer that we could make. Like they're clearly willing to pay a player if they want to keep him. The question is, maybe they got their eyes on somebody else to bring in and pay even more. You know,
Maybe
who
they
knows?
do.
I don't know. So I'm saying I think Smithy is maybe like a in the realm of possibility, but I don't think it's super likely.
There's all kinds of things you could do and think about for TL.
So I think the only way that could even be a possibility is if they bomb at Worlds.
Right.
If they do respectably at Worlds, it's like, why switch it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they look at that as a potential weak point,
yeah,
I could see that.
Lower down the list in the like, maybe contracts, I think is mostly a side grade for us, but he might have a bit deeper champion pool than amazing, right? I don't think he's that great, but like I said, I think skill wise, it'll probably be a side grade, but we'd have more draft flexibility. I do think it comes at the cost of leadership though, which is another negative. So I'm kind of like, not really on that. And then my dark horse option, which was shouted out actually on Twitter by our old friend. Let me find it. Leech Terrell on Twitter, who said, I want Anda back on the main roster. He's made huge improvements on impacting lanes, which he admitted he didn't do well. His mechanics in champion pool are way deeper than amazing. I kind of agree with that. Like, I think he made some improvements back in the right direction. However, counterpoint to me, we got burned by believing in that.
We did.
We got burned. So
we've tried it once,
and that may just be mentally not doable. So, but I just said, like, I wouldn't hate it if that played out.
I mean,
I think no chat, no Medios, no.
I know. I was gonna say Medios is all.
You guys know. You already know what happened already with Medios. Nope.
Let's just bring Medios and Cody Sun back.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's what I'll say about Anda. If you keep him on Academy, which, you know, but you'd have to re-sign him to keep him on Academy. One, which it seems unlikely, but I don't know, maybe you do. It feels like somebody's probably going to take a look at him, especially with Echo Fox completely shedding their roster. Like, there's a lot of stuff that could happen, people who'll be looking around and shopping. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gave him a shot. So I won't even go through that. I really think it's unlikely that he stays another season on our Academy.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm going to address quickly a few things in the chat. One, Santorin, you guys must have forgotten he was doo-doo this year. It was.
Well, this split.
This split. It was booty, man. It got bad. Acadian and Greg, like, there's something there that's just weird. I don't think they're bad options. In fact, I thought Greg was a dark horse for us, like at the beginning of this year, but it didn't pan out. Honestly, they're looking less strong right now. And I would be shocked if we didn't make a pass at one of them already, like last split, and TSM wasn't willing to roll with it. Spica doesn't look that great. So I don't know. I think TSM's just a mess right now, and they're not like ready to deal out everybody. And then what was the last one? Dardock. Ha. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. TSM. Look, okay. Anytime you have a player who very suddenly finds themselves in the starting position, hoisted up as the starter, the face of our jungle, and then the next week they are not there. Do you know how hard it would have been for TSM to make that decision?
Yeah.
Something happened. And it wasn't just that they realized Acadian's not that good. They didn't bring Greg or Acadian. It wasn't even like, we're not sure. We're kind of feeling like they just said no.
Yeah.
So but that doesn't mean that they should never play again. It means that you should be very wary. As an organization who has had two players that we've done that with, I am super wary about bringing in somebody else who we're not very confident in. Being a good fit.
Here's the thing, though. Like, rumor has it that was internal conflict between a couple of people that was like a little more personal. So if you have them away from the people who personally caused them problems, that might be okay. I'm not defending that decision. Like, obviously they weren't on my list. So I'm not like, oh yeah, let's get him in there. But I think like that may have been kind of a TSM specific situation.
Man, maybe it's just that TSM is on fire. That's possible.
Maybe it's just Sven is an annoying EU player. That's entirely possible.
Sneak peek, Cole's gonna do whatever he can to get Sven over our way because he's a free agent too. Well, I don't want to jump to bot lane, but just if you were wondering and you need to go,
if you wanted the preview, there it is.
Rest assured, Cole's going to bring Sven to our team somehow.
Right.
All right. I think we've spent enough time talking about jungle.
Yep. Shall
we move to the most important lane on the Rift, the best lane of all time, the one that we just can't quite get figured out, mid lane? Or we can skip over it. You want to skip over it?
Let's skip it. No, okay, like mid lane. Mid lane. It's time to do mid lane. Is it your turn? Right. It's your turn first. Okay, so
it's my turn to go first.
We've got Ryu. We've got Soligo. I think most of the conversation is probably going to focus on Ryu. So let's start there. Jordan, Ryu, keep, swap, deal.
Okay, cool. All right. You and I. It seems like one of the
anytime this is like an uncomfortable conversation with your girlfriend or something. Right. Like, look. You and
it's not you, and it's not me.
Okay, so now I'm prepared for this to be a terribly uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. Over the course of this show. And I would say since
the course of this show, over the course of the last 40 minutes.
No, the entirety of 100 Talk.
Okay.
And if you're a long time
Fair
fan,
enough. I thought you meant like this show.
Going way back. We have spent probably more than our fair share of gas up Ryu time.
Yes.
We've called him any number of things, from the Godfather to God himself, to
the
savior of our season. It's so with all of that, I kind of feel crazy saying anything other than should we keep him? But it's still that question mark. I mean, I think this is still where we were. Like if we replayed the tape from the last edition of this show, we could probably just say all the exact same things, couldn't we? Like, it still feels like it's not a long-term solve. I think that what we now know about Ryu is that he is very clearly able to get people to play League of Legends like a team. And I think that if you don't have anybody on your team who can do that, good luck. If you've ever played solo queue, you know how that goes.
If you ever were a fan of 100 Thieves in week 102 of summer 2019.
Yeah. So that is super important. I have to believe in my heart of hearts that he is not the only human capable of doing that. There's got to be other people out there who were born or have residency in North America who don't take an import slot just to make sure that your team can actually play together. I don't think it's a unique trait. I've seen other teams do that. I know that other teams who play League of Legends professionally can play together.
This is a classic Jordan rant right now.
So here's what I'll say. I love Ryu. He has saved this team probably more times than any of us will ever know from the depths of embarrassment and just the absolute rock bottom. And for that, I say thank you.
Tip of the hat.
Tip of the hat to you, sir. And I will say, I think it's time for us to identify who inherits the throne.
That's a very nice way to put it.
Who becomes the next great mid laner for 100 Thieves? And as you did, I'm going to leave it right there. And I don't think you can deal him because I think he's retired. I think he's going back to the very pleasant confines of probably the coach's room, which, yeah.
I think that's his contract is up, by the way.
It's up. And I think we'd have a hard time. I don't know. Maybe he wants to keep playing now, but I have to imagine that somewhere he's thinking it's probably time for me to step back.
So you're thinking we call in a replacement for Ryu.
I think, and I don't think it's a Soligo. I'm sorry. I don't think it's Soligo.
Okay, I'll agree on that. I'll agree on Soligo is not there, and that makes me sad because that man has just the most beautiful smile. And people with smiles that great should get second chances. But look, here's my plan for mid lane. Okay. I'm going to go to my local craft store.
Yes.
Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever.
You gotta get some paper mache supplies.
I'm going to buy one of those beautiful, wonderful paper lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take it out onto a dock on the ocean. Yes. I'm going to light the candle. I'm going to write Ryu's name on it, and I'm going to let it drift away. It's going to be sent off right at sunset.
Yeah, we'll be live streaming
into
that
the
this
great
weekend.
Beyond.
Tune in.
I think it's time to say goodbye to our dear friend who we owe so much to. I'm not sure there's somebody who's done more for 100 Thieves over the course of its existence than Ryu.
Crowder.
Well, yes, LCS.
Crowder.
LCS.
Yeah, LCS.
Love you, Crowder.
Love you, Crowder. Always.
Miss you so bad, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
When does COD start?
Ryu. Here's so you and I both, like, we've always been impressed in retrospect, looking at what he did for the team, looking at the plays. Like when we did top plays 2018, top plays 2019, we're like, wow, Ryu really does some great things for us. And obviously, like, I think he was the prime factor for turning around the split this year.
Yep.
I think he proved that having a more strategic-minded mid laner who wasn't afraid to go set up the plays and fight.
Yeah.
It was the single biggest impact factor that we had this season. He made a huge difference for the team, all while pulling in very meager laning stats. So again, I dove into these stats, man. Yeah. This is just the recurring weak spot of this team. All right. Kills right in the middle. Deaths right in the middle. Low on total KDA, but that's because he didn't have a lot of assists because a lot of time he's operating solo, like in the mid lane.
Clean it up. Yep.
He has the worst goal differential at the position. He has the worst CSD at 10 or 15 or whatever in the position. He's great on wards. But this dude is just like, he can't lane like he used to, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And that is just such a, I'm keying in on this because it's such a basic weakness. Like, we are putting ourselves in a hole almost by design. You know what I mean? When we have players like that. And the intangibles that he has are amazing, but I think it's time. If this whole year should have taught us anything, it should have taught us that mid lane is where we need to spend an import slot. Mid lane is where we should focus, like, the best talent that we can get our hands on. Okay. It's just too important of a role. So to me, I'm in agreement with you. It's time to say goodbye to our favorite mid laner of all time. And look for the darling new baby who's going to save us.
Ryu, we love you. We miss you already.
It's so hard to say, buddy. But that lantern, it'll be beautiful. I'll post it on Instagram.
Take care.
Yep.
All right. Do you have, I said this is going to be a 3 or 4 hour show. I didn't really mean that. So,
but we're going. We're going.
Oh, we might hit that mark. But rather than spending the next 25 minutes talking about who we could bring into mid, do you have a dream scenario or anybody who you'd say that's the one?
Look, here's what I think we should do, because I have actually a lot of things to say at mid. So I'm maybe not 25 minutes, but maybe 15, man. Let's go on this.
That's fine.
But we should start with this. Here's what I propose. Yes. Everyone wants to talk about 100T Bjergsen. I'm going to talk about that. I'll toss it over to you for a suggestion. What do you think we should do at the position? And then I'll come back. I've got, like I said, more ideas. So Bjergsen is obviously right. The pie in the sky. Like, if we had anything we want, I think we would take Bjergsen, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a Faker is also
yeah, sure. Faker's a free agent. Yes.
I'll just say, put it out there.
Similarly to Faker, Bjergsen is TSM.
Yes.
He is TSM. So I can't imagine him leaving there. Even while they're like just imploding right now, like they look really bad. It looks bad for TSM.
They play badly.
I still can't see him leaving that organization. If he leaves that organization, it's because he has some serious concerns with management, right? He is a player you can build around. I think what happens is that we come at Bjergsen with a bag. I don't know if it's the bag, but we come to him with a bag. We make a significant offer to him. Yes. I don't think he takes it, but I think he's just it's like the money to make him leave TSM would be too great, I think.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we're willing to pay for high talent. I just don't think we're going to make him the offer that's enough to pull him away from the place where he is the face of the franchise, super popular franchise. Like so many opportunities come from being on TSM, like just from like a career standpoint. Like I don't think we're able to pry him away. If we were, I would take it, man. I'd take it because having him there, I mean, that he is a team-changing player. He is.
He checks the boxes.
And I think he's still got a lot of mileage left in the tank. So,
yep. All right. Let me. I agree with you. He is my number one hope. I am on team. Whatever it takes, Bjergsen. That's kind of my overall strategy. He's part of the reason that I think we can put Someday back in the top. I think if you can get him, you can play Someday, you can play Bang. Here's your team next year. Someday, Bjergsen, Bang, whatever else.
Whatever else. Like
that's a
you may
good
not
team.
You may not need to start another player.
Yeah. I mean, you got amazing. So yeah, you get the point. Let me just put this out there. TSM, hot mess. Bjergsen, he had a chance to build the team he wanted. This is what he's got. He's been building this team. He is the franchise. This is it. They are bombing out of playoffs. How does he feel about this right now? You've talked about Sven. He's probably not feeling super great. And maybe TSM isn't either. Faker is available. If you are Faker, what is the one team that you would move out of Korea to play for? It's not
the Cowboys. Like it's not an LCS team.
TSM, Faker. There's not a more perfect match. They are the iconic brands in League of Legends, man. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if it were to happen, it would be for TSM. It would.
Okay, I can follow that argument. I can say it's never going to happen, but I can follow the argument that you're making. Sure.
But if TSM is unhappy in some way, and this is all conjecture, we're in pure fantasy land now. I've got my fantasy GM hat on, and I've got a staff as well, and a spell book in my other hand. I'm pure fantasy. If TSM is not happy with Bjergsen, I don't know. Who would you have to replace Bjergsen? You would take Faker. And you could throw a bag. You could throw the bag of all bags at Faker. So Faker's thinking he's now got he's got 8 titles in LCK. Maybe it's time for him to try Los Angeles.
I just don't think the appeal is there, man.
I don't think so either, man. But it's fun to imagine,
look,
isn't
it? Talking about like Faker coming to NA or talking about Bjergsen going to 100T for that matter is like when and this is shout out to the old people who listen to us that are closer to our age and not 18 or whatever. But it's like getting ready for Christmas and pulling out the Toys R Us catalog and like circling the $1,000 drum set. Like you're not getting that for Christmas, bro. Right, your parents aren't dropping the bag on your Christmas present. But you circle it anyway, just so they know what the dream is.
Yeah, who knows? Look, if you don't dream it, you can't achieve it. Is that how the saying
Copyright 2019, Jordan Wicker of 100 Talk. Okay, let's talk about what we think can happen. Okay. And I didn't hear you saying what you think could happen. I wanted to get an idea out of you. Other than Faker to TSM.
Man, I honestly
do you have any suggestions?
I didn't think far past it.
Okay.
Than Bjergsen. I just think Bjergsen that's the goal. That's the ideal. I think you go all out for it. And then anything after that feels like something less than that.
Okay. So, then let me go off on my rant. All right.
Please.
I hate the LEC. I just don't like it. All right. There are many reasons. People who watch the stream all the time will know this. I do not like that region. That said, their mid laners are pretty good. I like some of the mid lane talent that's coming out of there.
European mid laners, turns out, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
There is a player who's stuck in a bad situation in LEC. He goes by the name of Larson. He plays for Rogue. Rogue is not a bottom of the barrel team, but they're not good.
Made a pretty good run in playoffs.
There's no real future. I don't think there's any real future for Larson there. This dude's he addresses what is bad about our team. Early game stats, man. He's great. Like, he has great early game stats. He's a pretty decent fighter. He's contracted through 2021. That is the bad thing.
Rogue's got the long contract.
Maybe for some, like in some dream scenario, we're able to like send them someday and some cash, because Profit, I think, seems a little iffy for them. I mean, he's had some good games, but he's had some bad ones too. So I'm not sure how they feel about Profit. I don't watch it close enough to know, to be honest. But like Larson, I think that could be a nice fit for us.
Could be.
Some other things that are on the table for me. Gen X.
Wasn't he second? Was he all pro? I think he was all pro. Maybe second team.
No, all pro was all G2.
I know the first one, but
yeah,
I think he was maybe on second or third.
Yeah. So Gen X on SK, he has pretty good early game stats. He's a good fighter on a bad team and is available. He's a free agent. So, and there are probably some other options too. It seems like EU, values their mid laners so much, and so anybody would be reluctant to let go of a starter. So there may be some work to do there. But you know what other region has a lot of talent in mid lane is freaking LCK. And they've got a lot of talent that's available also.
Hit me with it. Faker.
So Hanwha Life, for example, is a team that is not doing well in LCK. But they have Tempt, who's an underrated player. He's got good stats. He's on a bad team. His contract's up. And guess what? They can't figure out if they're going to play Tempt or Lava, his backup. Lava looks viable in LCK, like just a little bit under Tempt, in my opinion. One of those guys, maybe we could, convince that to come in. I'm prioritizing EU personally over Korea for a couple reasons, but here's some other things. Kuzan on Gen G could be a buyout option. BDD from KT. KT is like terrible right now. BDD, man, I love him. There's some things there. There are some moves to be made. I think there are plenty of import opportunities, man.
You know how I feel about it. See, this is the thing. We tried it with Bang and we got bit. And I know that that's not how it would go every time.
Yeah, what does that mean?
That's my worry.
What does that mean? What do we get bit by? We had a player who was not confident in the rest of the team around him, so he didn't play with any sort of aggression or assertiveness. That's what we had. He captained Jack QSS once. Like, that was the, you know what I mean? Like, dude was just not aggressive. What happens when he gets a very good Korean player on his team? Maybe the trust is better.
I don't know. Maybe the trust is better. Maybe it's not. Maybe he doesn't like his support duo.
What would happen if Crown was on 100 Thieves somehow? I don't think Optic would let go of Crown, but what would happen?
Yeah.
How does that affect Bang?
I'm worried that we can look at a player and say they're so good. They're so good. And they get here and it doesn't translate to so good. That's my concern, because we've seen it happen.
Well, and that's part of the reason why I'm prioritizing EU, because I think EU mids have a higher success rate.
So you're feeling it somewhere too. I'm not crazy to say.
Yeah. No, but I'm just
even one of the best.
I don't think it would be a bad thing to get a Korean mid laner.
No, I don't either.
Here's some other names that get thrown out. I mean, Power of Evil. I think he is a provable improvement for our team, but he's not something to risk it on. And he doesn't have good early game, which is like our top concern in my opinion. Plus he seems unlikely to leave. Pobelter, I think his stock is falling. He doesn't seem like a great fighter, and again, he doesn't shore up the early game for us either. So I don't know. I think we got to go to the import pile.
Yeah. Here's where I think I'll this will be my last comment, but if you've got more, keep on. If we keep somebody like Amazing or some other jungler who has a lot of experience, I'm much more confident in us, and actually kind of like the idea of picking up a younger and less proven talent. I think especially if you're talking about EU. I think especially if you got Amazing. I mean, don't forget, this guy was a coach in EU. He's played a lot in EU. He's from Europe. Like that connection is real, and that would be really helpful. Also, all this concern about language barrier and stuff is pretty much gone. So
yeah, that's a material thing, sure.
And I think people can say it, and players always say it. It's not a thing. It's not real. It's not part of it. It's not a thing. It's a thing, right? It's got to be a thing. It's always like people communicate when they play this game. Yeah. So
a couple of people say Froggen, and I would say if Froggen gets signed, that's the end of 100 Talk. See ya.
I guess we'll be, I don't even know. Yeah. I mean, Cole, he plays the game well.
Okay, cool. But I want to punch him in the face. All right. 100 T Larson it is. 100 T Larson it is.
If we're going to go for youth and we have to have somebody else, that's my concern. Leadership deficit, something or other territory.
LDDT or whatever.
LDDT. We have to be cautious of that. So if we're going to make that move, we got to have somebody else.
What EU mids are not going to be leaders, though? Those dudes are like really outspoken and cocky and whatever. They're going to be leaders. I'm just going to say it. All right, let's move on because we're dwelling on that a lot. Sorry. At the wonderful position of ADC, we have a well-known Korean by the name of Bang.
Yes, we do.
I'm a fan of Bang's Gucci shoes, his Balenciaga. I'm a fan of his Captain Jack QSS's. I'm a fan of him just in general.
Yeah.
Jordan, keep, swap. What is it? Keep, swap or deal?
Swap deal. I think it's your start, isn't it? I gave my homage.
Oh, come on. Okay.
What, you forget about that already?
If it's not obvious, I'm keeping him. All right. Yeah. Look,
he's on contract.
He's on contract. He's on a expensive contract. It's got to be expensive, right?
Yep.
He has shown
we're the second most expensive roster.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And it's not coming from Fake God.
Yeah,
coming from somewhere else. Fake God is great. He's not making max.
Yeah, that's right. I think Bang has shown flashes of brilliance, right? I think that his problem has been a trust issue. I don't think he trusted NA support squad behind him. I think that transition has been rough, and I think it's getting better over time. I think the chemistry is building. It's slow, but it's building. If he has the better chemistry in bot lane, I think he could really thrive. You can't really point to mechanical problems with him.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah,
it's mentality almost.
Right. If you want to like give my like little just quick look at the stats, his problem basically is in kills. He's not getting a lot of kills, but he's also not dying, and the reason why is because he's not fighting. Okay, so that just points to the aggression. He's got the lowest death share of the team, for example, so he's not like getting killed in these fights. He does have, though, 4th worst goal differential at 10. But he does have the 3rd highest CSD at 10, and it's a pretty clear separation between the top 3 and the rest of the team. So he's like in a tier up there. He's right in the middle with damage per minute. But again, gold is pretty low, like 3rd worst gold earned per minute over the thing of the whole game. So what that points to me is this dude is not taking fights, so he doesn't get kill gold. And then because they're not taking fights, they're not winning those fights, they're not winning turret plates, and they're not winning dragons. So because he's not fighting, that's where all the gold differential is coming into play, even though his CSing is actually pretty good. And so that's what, like, if we unlock his aggression, if we unlock the trust factor there, then I think he's going to be great for us. and I'm on the keep Bang train. And like I said, it hurt me like crazy to get rid of Someday. I'm not getting rid of both of those guys. I'm keeping Bang as the second import on this team.
Okay. I mean, that's where I am too. You keep Bang. I don't see a better option. What I will say is, I think he feels to me a bit like the rare player in that he is an incredibly expensive, we're assuming, we don't know the numbers, import player who feels pretty consistently outperformed by NA talent. And I think if you look at the best teams, they have, and let's just look at the playoff teams. They had bot laners who were playing really well. I watched Cody Sun play for Clutch in the playoffs. He popped off. Cody Sun has never been a bad player. And let's not forget that. There is really good NA talent at this position. Now, Cody Sun is a player who didn't work out with our team. I would say that he's somebody who felt pretty clearly like he was not as good as Double Lift. And I think that's one of the reasons that we needed to, at the time, one of our things was, hey, kind of our most immediate goal was we got to beat TL. If we want to win a title in the LCS, we've got to beat TL. And Cody Sun is somebody who's struggling to do that. And I don't think that's changed necessarily, but I think he's still really good. So we thought that Bang would be our best shot.
I mean, they did win 2 games against Team Liquid.
They did. Cody Sun played really well. So what I'm getting at is longer term, like I think next season, Bang is our best option at the position. Beyond that, I think it's wide open. I think you have to see a very significant improvement in Bang in 2020 to say with confidence that he is the guy for 2021 and beyond. Certainly based on what we've seen so far, whether it's his fault or not, I would say that it's not a look that you would want to invest as much treasure in for the future.
Well, here's what I'll say. You are locking yourself into an NA mid laner with this. You kept Someday, you kept Bang.
I know.
So good luck scraping the bottom of the barrel for that. But
it's a little bit going back territory. But I did say we deal Fake God. And you know who else is off contract? Huni. And you know what team Huni plays for?
Okay, but what?
And you know what mid laner they have?
No, they're not giving up Demonte.
Tanner time. Send over Fake God. They've got to find a replacement for Huni. That dude's expensive. Dignitas probably can't afford it.
Demonte is a mild improvement.
Mild improvement.
We're trying to win. We got to have strength in mid lane. We got to have outstanding talent.
Someday is a major improvement.
He's not a major improvement over Fake God with the way we play the game. He is a much better player. But the way we're playing the game is through bot lane, and hey, Fake God, go survive up there. And Fake God's doing an okay job of doing that.
Yeah, I don't dislike Fake God.
Look, we answered this question already, man. That's what we did when we were figuring out the roster this year in Academy. Like, this is the better net solution. So if Someday's not part of that better net solution, how can you claim that he's so much better up there?
Because I think Someday is not a leader. And we had to make changes to enable us to bring in a leader. If we can get another leader, we basically had 0 out of 5 players. We had an invalid roster, not enough leaders. It's like if we tried to play 3 imports. We had to make a change to bring in a leader. That change had to come through top lane. I think if you can have a leader somewhere, right now, Ryu's out, we've said. I'm saying keep Amazing in, so you know you have at least some leadership on the Rift. I think if you've got Amazing and Someday, and then a domestic mid, and then Bang, and we haven't done bot and support yet, I think you have enough leadership, potentially, assuming that Ryu wasn't all of it. I think we say that there's a split. So for me, it's a stretch. Of course it's a stretch. This is fantasy GM time. But I think if you can get Bjergsen, or you can get Demonte, or maybe you can get somebody we haven't talked about yet locally, we won't talk about him, then I think it could work.
You can't seriously believe me to buy into that when you say, if we can get Bjergsen or if we can get Demonte, as if Demonte can fill the shoes of Bjergsen. If we can get Bjergsen, okay, but that's not a 1-for-1, dude.
But you said Demonte would be a minor improvement.
I said a mild improvement. Like that's
mild improvement.
Bjergsen is a massive improvement.
Is a massive improvement. That's why he would be the number one choice.
That's not, the algebra doesn't work out.
But what I'm saying is Demonte over Ryu would still be an improvement. It may not be a major one, but it would still be an improvement.
Yeah, but
we would
again,
still be better off in mid lane than we were at the end of this split.
And we would still be not great and not going to have a chance to beat top teams.
But we would be, I would say, much better in top lane.
And how did that work out for us in spring when we were much better in top lane all the time?
We didn't have a leader.
Oh gosh. All right.
We were less than the sum of our parts.
We're beating a dead horse here. We have to agree to disagree on this one. This will be the heated argument that tears up 100 Talk.
When someday comes back and overflows our top 15 plays of 2020, the argument is settled.
Okay, but when that happens because we got Bjergsen, I'm gonna say okay, cool. When that happens because Demonte is on our team, I'm going to be chilling in hell with my parka because it froze over.
Okay. I didn't say it's likely.
I'm wearing the Clutch jersey as I'm saying that.
I didn't say that this is what's going to happen. I'm building my fantasy roster.
Okay.
This is my fantasy roster.
Okay.
Let me have it.
I'm trying to be responsible to the people who need us to talk about support, by the way. All right.
Okay.
We both agree though. Bang. Right?
Yes, bang.
Bang. We agree with bang. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely need more aggression out of him. Need more assertive play. We need to keep playing through bot lane, in my opinion. But bang can work for us. Okay, so that leaves us with support. Which is your turn, Jordan. Support. We have the wonderful bearded Aframu. Keep, swap, or deal.
His contract is up, and I have to imagine he's a very expensive player. Here's what I'll tell you. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't dig deep into the support pool.
I don't blame you for that.
Yeah. I think we got to try to keep him. I think he is, there's been so much discussion about Afro. He's received so much criticism. It's been a tough year. I think a lot of that comes down to him playing the type of game that no one else is playing and finding himself suddenly very alone and receiving a lot of damage. And that doesn't go well. There's also been a lot of mental lapses that we talked about, kind of like, what was that play?
Like hanging in bush and gets picked off.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. That being said, I don't know. I don't see a swap with Stunt happening. I don't see him
Definitely
as being a replacement for Afro.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess I don't have a super compelling reason that he is the person we should pursue for 2020, other than I think that he's our best bet. Like, that's just kind of, I think, what it comes down to. I don't think we burn an import slot on support. I just don't.
Oh, yeah.
That means it's got to be
Core
domestic.
JJ is the rare exception.
Yeah. And, that was very clear. Like, that worked out really well for them. But I think given our team, the reason they could do that is because the rest of their team was solid and they had great answers at the other positions. We don't have that luxury. So I think it would be kind of crazy to shake up bot lane, jeopardize another one of our lanes, which are very clearly in need of some kind of change, and where we have other pressing issues. It just doesn't feel like a pressing issue at support. We saw the synergy improving toward the end of the split. I think you see what 2020 brings. You try your best to sign after. Maybe you just sign up to another year, right? He's getting older too. And then maybe if 2020 doesn't go well for us, or as well as we want in the bot lane, you start looking at a full revamp, both positions, 2021. I think you keep him where he's at.
Yeah, I super agree with this. And I think some of the reasons are being said in chat too. It's like, first of all, Aframu feels like 100 Thieves. Like early on, it was 100 Thieves. We signed Aframu. Like that was like the beginning of everything, right? And he feels like the face of the franchise. I like him. If you ask me week 3 of this split, if I think we should keep him, I'd be like, I really don't know. He's looking really bad. He bounced back a lot. And I think that a lot of that was due to him and Bang starting to figure each other out. And I only see improvement coming back on that. I am proud that he improved throughout the split. Like he started getting his form back. And the other point you made about breaking up the synergy, like you're basically starting from scratch, with anyone you bring in. And then it comes to down, like, who do you replace him with? Like, what NA support are you bringing in? That's going to be an obvious improvement there. So I think all the signs point to Aframu, and I'm fine with that. I like him a lot. And I think also what you said, sign him for a year. I think that you give him a year contract, and then see how it goes. Like, if you need to blow it up after 2020, okay. But I think we could at least give him a year.
The thing I'm kind of worried about, if anything, in bot lane is that we might get some competition for him. He's going to be receiving offers from other teams, and he might say, I'm guessing he's a very expensive player. I think he is premier support at his best in NA, and I think that a lot of teams obviously would really like to have that. So that would be my concern, or that budget compression elsewhere or pressure elsewhere makes it so that we can't meet his demands or what he needs. So it's not automatic. And I am sweating a little bit just kind of thinking about that. Hakuho and Big are the 2 NA supports that are free agents. And I don't think either of those.
Aren't like Big and Arrow joined at the hip now?
Probably. I don't know.
Wouldn't we have to surgically separate them to do that?
That wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good luck. So it's when you see those 2, it's like that it just doesn't feel like a no brainer. So I think you keep your fingers crossed and you hope that it works out. That's my suggestion as fantasy GM.
Well, we're on board there. That was a quick one. Yep. Good.
It was.
Now, something that we didn't talk about before that perhaps we should bring up is there's one other thing we could think about changing with this team, and that's Probably Watch. Probably tweeted out, fix 100T or die trying earlier this split, to which I responded with the Photoshop 50 Cent album cover, which I should have pulled out again at the end of this. Your thoughts on head coach Neil Prawley Hamad?
I went first last time.
But I'm still feeling myself out. You go first.
Okay. I appreciate your honesty. Contract's up. Probably Watch has turned into probably decision time. And so you gotta put the paper in front of him and have him put pen to it, or you gotta tell him to pack his bags and go. Let me just run through some of the names. Invert from FlyQuest, Young Buck from Fnatic, Moose from Misfits, Realistic from SK Gaming, Duke from Splice. And I'm including EU coaches because I don't really think it matters too much. No import restrictions on coaches. Obviously, there's going to be coaches from Korea as well, but I think,
Wait,
and we've seen that work.
Can I ask, obviously. Young Buck is the head coach of Fnatic?
I believe so.
And
I'm going to just
you're going to think he's going to leave Fnatic to come to NA?
Oh, no, I'm just saying these are all free agents.
Okay. All right.
These are all
because I am definitely thinking that's not happening.
No, I think he's a pretty good spot. So, Joseph Jang in the equation, as chat's mentioning. We've got Kelsey. Like, we've got coaches. I kind of feel like we're at a similar position as where we left Probably Watch, which is there's a lot of stuff that goes in this discussion and conversation. We don't know nearly as much as fans about the coaches and about their style and about all these things as we do about the players. We don't get to see their stats. There's no numbers. I mean, the stats we can see are win-loss. Not great for us. We can look at draft. Coaches have a very big role in that, obviously. What I'll say before I pass it to you is when you watch the last episode of The Heist, he doesn't act like a guy who's going to be here next season.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Just the way he was talking to the team, the things he was saying, It kind of felt like a period, not a comma.
Yep, I get that feeling too. I want to back up a little bit though. You said the stats don't really tell you a lot about coaching sometimes. I think that's in general pretty true. But something, as I was going back through everything, and I just kept getting struck about how bad our early game has been. I feel like if there's a phase of the game that coaching impacts, it would be early game, right? Because think what happens in early game. The plan that you put into place plays out. And you can plan the first 5 minutes a heck of a lot better than you can plan minute 30 through 35. True. Right?
Very true.
It's much easier to coach the beginning game than the 8 game. Like if you're talking about the late game, it's like, oh, did we draft a scaling comp? That's basically the only coaching thing that you can really talk about.
Right.
If we are consistently getting smashed in the early game, then that may indicate that we have bad plans going into these games. And that points to a coaching thing. So that was kind of something I was thinking about in my head as I was, getting ready for tonight. Mm-hmm. I still will make the same point I always make. I don't see obvious replacements there. Someone said St. Vicious. There are some different problems going on there. Loco, I'm not convinced that Loco is the right thing for us. I don't know. I haven't been blown away by what Loco has to say about stuff. I do like Kelsey, but I just think she needs more time to cook. I think Joseph, I really like actually. I wasn't convinced watching him communicate with players when they were doing what's not given for the academy squad. I wasn't convinced by his communication style that he had trust and buy-in from the players. And if you don't get that at the academy level, it's probably a lot harder to get at the LCS level. Maybe he can get there. And like I said, I really like him actually, but
and not just because he came on our show.
And not just because he came on the show. I liked him before he came on the show and before I found out that he is an equal fan of the Margiela Gat that I am. But yeah, it just seems like maybe that's not the right thing yet. Maybe sometime in the future. So I just keep thinking, I can't think of an obvious replacement for Prawley. And I personally, I don't really know why, but I just kind of like him in general. So it's hard for me when I just come from that position of I like this dude to, and there's nothing that's obviously available. It's kind of hard for me to be like, yeah, we definitely need to change there. But the early game stuff worries me. And the finishing 10th and 8th for the last 2 splits, that worries me too. Like the amount of talent we have, we should have gotten more out of.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean,
I'm getting flamed in the chat because I said Kelsey needs more time to cook. I meant more time in the oven to develop. Gosh, not more. I was not making a sexist joke. Gosh.
Come on, guys. Don't you know about baking?
Come on.
What is this?
Come on. You guys know me better than that.
I think if you just look at the record, man, it feels really, I don't know. It feels like, are we giving him too much of a pass to say keep him? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the record is bad. Like the record is bad.
And I think I have a hard time saying that I believe in his system even at this point. Like I just don't know. But on what grounds do you say that? Yeah, it doesn't seem to really be clicking with this roster and the different rosters that we've had. Let me ask you this. It's kind of a softball maybe, but you said amazing as coach. You couldn't keep him as a coach. You keep him as a head coach?
No, I gave him as an assistant.
Okay. What about Joseph?
I don't think it's that bad of an idea though to
head coach.
Yeah. Head coach. Like, I don't think that's that bad of an idea because you're getting someone who's fresh in the game. You're getting someone who knows the team, but it's just like, there are so many other things that go into coaching that we can't see. And we don't know how he would be in those contexts. So, and Graf in chat says, I thought Amazing hated his tenure as a coach. So if that's a factor, then he definitely doesn't want to do that. Yeah. But so I'm not completely sold on that either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, although I think I also saw somebody earlier say I thought Ryu hated his tenure as a coach. Maybe coaching just sucks. Maybe that's just not a great job.
No one wants to coach.
Yeah, which I think kind of gets us to the root of this thing, which is it's not like we have this super deep pool of coaches to pull from.
Yeah, that's a problem, man. That's a problem.
That's a ... And I'm not sure that we're going to get closer to, like, the dream scenario here isn't clear to me.
Someone's saying recency bias in chat for probably, like we're saying we finished 10th and 8th. It's 8th, by the way, not 7th. Doesn't seem like a terrible record. Seems like recency bias. Well, the recency bias, that's half of his tenure as a coach. Okay. Yeah, he had one split where he got to finals, and then it's been downhill from there constantly. Yeah. And I don't really blame him for summer split 2018, but the downward trajectory has continued when we've arguably had more talent on the table. So,
yeah, I feel like that's the thing that's concerning.
Yeah.
Is we made the moves that he signed off on.
I just don't know why. I just like him and want to keep him. Like, I just feel like I want to keep him.
I mean, if you really want to do recency bias, you could look at the changes that he made most recently and say that's a winning record. That's a 53% winning record. And that is better than 10th place and 8th place.
Yeah.
So maybe there is improvement there. And maybe that's part of the reason, if we keep him around, that we keep him around.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not strongly convicted either way.
Yeah.
I'm looking for anything that would indicate to me whether there's somebody who's better or whether he is actually trending in the right direction. And if I think the argument either way is going to be he is trending in the right direction since the changes have been made. Although I think you've got to be cautious because there will be more changes. And the last time there were more changes, we plummeted to the bottom of the table.
Yeah, and that's what Penguin was bringing up in chat. He said, like, bear in mind, every split he's had to coach a slightly different roster. And, that not having consistency there certainly is a factor. So,
and he is ultimately the one who decides that.
Yeah.
Like, the roster changes, I have to imagine.
That's true.
Are his to make and decide.
That's a really good counterpoint there. So,
and I think the point being there is it's not like the challenges he's facing are imposed on him by an outside force, some unseeable, unknowable outside force. He's calling the shots.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. I just can't materialize my definite thoughts about that, but I lean towards keeping him. I hope you guys have enjoyed this journey of discussion about 100 Thieves roster. We've got such a long off season here. So during Worlds, during Worlds, we'll get a chance to look at some of these things. You know what I mean? Like some of the players that we've talked about, like we'll get to see them play some more. So let's see how that goes. See if that affects our ideas here. But
I don't think your boy Larson's going to be at Worlds.
No, he won't be. He won't be at
Gauntlet
Worlds
or not.
I don't know, to be honest, but he's not going to
Fourth
Worlds.
place finish.
Yeah, but some of the other players that are on the table are right, and we'll just see how that all plays out. Holy cow! Dylan is gifting 10 subs to our chat. Dylan, the now gifted 74. It's September.
We made it, Dylan. Oh my gosh, this is like your month-long holiday.
Yeah, thank you. We are so grateful for that. I can't even tell you how much. Man, that's amazing. Like I said, there's a note under our Twitch channel. It's like, we typically don't shout out the subs during this show specifically, but man, got to show some
Every
love
once in a while,
for
Dylan
the
pops off with 10.
Yeah, for the treasury there. Jeez.
Wow.
Okay, so in the spirit, look at Graphs coming through too with 5 more. Jeez, you guys are nutty, man. Thank you.
That's the best.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Penguin says, what is your 80% probable rosters in conclusion? So I'm going Fake God. Hold on. Rekindling my thoughts. So Fake God, 80% likely. I'm not sure I can put Blabber in that category, but I'm gonna do it. So Fake God, okay. Blabber, Larson. I'm gonna go Larson. Bang, yeah. Afremu. That's mine.
I feel pretty silly putting 80% to what I talked about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not like whatever. It's mine's probably not 80% either.
Someday. Amazing. LCS mid.
Unnamed LCS mid.
TBD LCS mid. Man, I don't know. I feel like maybe I copped out a little bit on the realistic side. Although we didn't set the rules before we started. We just said, what do we need? we need that. That's true. Banging afro. So, boy, Bjergsen. I'll own it. Bjergsen. I don't think it's 80%, but you guys
I don't
got
think
me.
mine's 80% either. Okay, so let's finish the show with the thing that people are actually watching for, because no one cares what us idiots have to say about the roster. What they care about is who's going to win one of these.
Hey,
beautiful guys back there.
Yes.
So we are happy to announce that the winner of the 100 Thieves Championship Jersey, which, since we don't have a COD team going forward, like, this is probably like a relic of history now.
Yeah.
Is Twitch user Sly__Penguin. Sly Penguin. Congratulations. You have won the jersey, so make sure to send us a DM, because we don't know if you're on Twitter or anything either. So just make sure to get in touch with us so we can get your information, and we will send you a beautiful jersey. Congratulations, and thank you to everyone who entered and retweeted, helped us spread the word about what we're doing here. There will be so many more giveaways. So hang around with us. There are going to be a lot of giveaways through the end of the year. All right. You have my word. You have Scout's Honor or whatever. You have
Scout's Honor. It's cemented here. Before people start logging out,
too late.
we thank the people who gift subs.
Yes.
Dylan, Graf, you guys are incredible. I love it so much. That is a big way of how we do
Shout out
these.
Chris tonight. Yep.
Yes, Chris tonight. I'm going to forget people, but those two have been super active in this show. That is a huge part of how we do these giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want everybody to just know that the reason that we can do this stuff is because of everybody's support, because people sub to the show, because subs are gifted to the show. That Cole and I are not making money. We love so much being able to do these giveaways and get people stuff who wouldn't normally have a chance to get it, or who try to get it, or their lunch break was 10 minutes late. By the time they got a chance to sit down, the drop is over. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I'm super thankful for. It is the generosity of this community that allows that to happen.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the Treasury, and that's the people who subscribe for themselves as well. Like, that is making that possible. We take that money and we dump it right back into the show.
Yeah, it's a reinvestment. And I know that the reason that you guys do that is because this is an important thing to you, the team. 100 Talk, you enjoy the show. You like being here. You like hanging out with the friends you have in chat. Like, I see so many familiar names. It's just awesome. So I won't go on it forever, but I do want to make sure that you guys understand it's that generosity is really what fuels this stuff. And that's why we're going to do so many more giveaways, because we just had freaking 15 subs come through just like that.
Yeah.
So
thank you
guys.
Thank you very much. Like, we genuinely love the community that we have here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You guys are incredible. So
and we're doing good things for the broader 100 Thieves.
That's right.
Too, which feels great.
That's what we're here to do. So Worlds is coming up, everybody. Go BLG, make Worlds and kill it. Go Griffin, since 100 T's not in it. And we love you. We miss you already. We cannot wait to do this again. We'll probably have another show in like 2 weeks. Probably not next week, but the week after. But we got some cool stuff planned. So be patient.
Absolutely.
And we'll be playing Rec League. So hop in and start following Rec League, because some cool stuff is about to happen there too. All right. Miss you already. Love you. Goodbye.